Welcome along to the Sunday Million Highlight Show from the 5th of August. 6,270 runners, generating that huge prize pool of $1.254 million, all from a collection of $215 buy-ins. What a phenomenon this tournament is, and trying to scoop the big prize are these 9 players from a variety of countries and some well-recognised names, actually. We'll get to that. Vladaboo, 23 million chips, is your big chip leader as we get into the action. We've missed out the first couple of hands. We'll start things rolling on hand number 450. 300,000 are your blinds. I'm sure many of you will recognise Wizard of Oz, a Team PokerStars online pro, Kevin Thurman. Kevin has a phenomenal track record and actually achieved the highest amount of VPPs ever in 2010. A sensational player, and the other players won't want him to get his hands on a lot of chips. Kind of in the middle of the pack right now. He gets things going with the ace-king of clubs and walks into a little bit of a cooler. Luckily for him, Zissimo doesn't have too many chips. Down to 6.5 big blinds with the aces. And the Wizard of Oz will make this routine call and will run the board out. Zissimo is the all-in player, but obviously in a dominant position right now, and that helps. Pretty thin draw, this one, for Wizard of Oz. 4 of hearts. Didn't matter. Zissimo gets back into this, just under 5 million. The Wizard will need to pull something out of his sleeve. He's on 3.3 million, but still just over 10 big blinds. We'll move on. Hand number 8. And nothing too exciting around the table. We'll see if anything weird and wacky happens. Pistol 789 has got a Canadian Championship of Online Poker second to his credit. Doesn't have too many chips to his credit, unfortunately. Super short stacked. And Vladaboo from Bulgaria is going to pick this one off with the pocket sixes. JJ Thomas is going to call. Or King Loon may as well call. He's getting 76 to 1 on his money. I just did the maths. So it's in that region. He does call. Why wouldn't you? Maybe Jack 3 will work. Still could. They deal a few more cards than usual. JJ Thomas has decided to call with this hand, the 7-5 of hearts. Don't see much future in it for him. Pistol is all in. He's got a lot of value for his King 4, hasn't he? I guess you could look at it that way. He can quadruple up should he find a way to win this one. Vlad still has the best hand though. Oh, there you go. It's like a cunning plan. 2 pair for Pistol 789, who's the all-in player. And King Loon picks up the flush draw. Doesn't look like anybody's going to bet into this dry side pot. And Pistol just needs to fade a diamond here. Or a 6. 2 of clubs will get the job done. And if he goes on to win this tournament and have a big score, this is the pot he'll tell the story about. Won't be a great story, and on about the 4th or 5th time he's told the same friend, he will endanger the friendship. But it does get him back on the winning trail. 3.3 million for him. He's kind of back in this, up to 10 big blinds. 200,000, 400,000, and Zissimo will move in with the ace-king suited. He's unlucky to run into Galaxy 7's kings here, isn't he? Easy shove for the player from Taiwan. Remarkably, 2 players from Taiwan at this final table. That's got to be a pretty good strike rate. I think everybody else will get out the way. Zizimo will try and buck the odds here. Has some aces to hit and some diamonds to hit, but he does need help. Galaxy 7 is the all-in player. Big pot for both of them, of course. And not much help for Zizimo, so just down to an ace on the river. Well, Galaxy 7's going to double through him, and that's what happens. 6.6 million slides over to him. Zizimo, having won that early pot of the aces, now back to being critical levels. A lot of short stacks at this final table. A ton of them actually sort of around the 4 million and less, so we're going to see some eliminations pretty quickly, I'd have thought. Everybody's going to fold around to Zizimo. He's going to have this decision. Not too much of a decision though. He's found an ace. He's in the cutoff. But the money, he's actually a little bit unlucky here to run into a bigger ace with just 3 players behind him. 4 better from London, England makes the pretty standard play and puts his money in against a very short stacked cut-off shove. And he's in a good spot. Not so for Zizimo, who's in danger of being the first to leave us. And 10 all but wraps it up on the flop. Although Zizimo does have a diamond, so he's found a way to potentially wriggle free. Just gave him a bit of action for his money, didn't it? He hits the rail, the Greek player, out in ninth, $9,718. Heading his way. We'd like you to get a similar share of the spoils. We're going to give you a free shot at a Sunday million seat. Go Tawny Free Roll, Online Poker Show Free Roll. I'll give you the password later in the show.
We are 10,000 people in Brazil, holding our breath. We are alone. Hunters. Hunted. We are committed. Blessed. Calm. We are all in. We are poker.
Welcome back to the Sunday Million. Not too many eliminations so far, just 1. 8 players remain, but a lot of short stacks. And the next couple of levels will probably really sort them out. Vladibu is your chip leader, player from Bulgaria with a very nice stack. But the blinds are getting big and it could all change pretty quickly. We'll get back into the action. And it's hand 27 where we'll pick things up. 200,000, 400,000 is still the blind level, so 3 players on your classic 10 big blinds or less short stack. One of them is Pistol 789, who had that pretty fortunate escape when he was down to 2 big blinds. This time he has, well, half a hand, isn't it? With the ace-jack offsuit. Galaxy 7 does eventually get rid of the 6-5. YND folds. So Vladibu, JJ Thomas from Denmark gets rid of the small pocket pair. And the decision will be on Kevin Thurman, Wizard of Ours, with a similar sort of stack, and decides to make the call. Well, Pistol's shoving a wide range of that short stack. Unfortunately for the Wizard of Ours, he does run into the bigger ace and is in trouble now. Will be crippled if he can't find a way out of this. And 8 of spades is not going to give him one, so pistol 7-8-9 continues his live dangerously but get out of it strategy. Had the best hand all the way there. Wizard of Oz would double up a couple of times from his super short stack though, and as we rejoin the action, it's back up to 5 big blinds, so hanging on in there. It's really short stack poker at the moment at this final table. We're basically playing shovel fold because even the bigger stacks will end up in that situation if anyone plays with them, because everybody else has got a short stack. And there's the shove from pistol 7-8-9. He's been unlucky here. Super standard stuff, this. He should be shoving that from the small blind and worse. Galaxy 7 has a monster and has him in real trouble. Could cripple this pot, Galaxy 7, but could knock out pistol 7-8-9 if he can't get help. And that ace all but does it. 2 for a chop. And Jack, well, gives him a pair to go out with. It's just kind of like a consolation prize. Pot slides over to Galaxy 7 and pistol 7-8-9 slides out of this one. The Canadian leaves us with $15,000 for 8th place. And we are 7-handed. Hand 31. And Wizard of Oz is committed here with Ace Jack. And this may turn into a good spot for him. Galaxy 7 with Queen 5 on the button will almost certainly fold, and Y&D will have the decision with King Jack. Galaxy 7 taking a little bit of time because he's actually playing this final table in the 6 other galaxies simultaneously. He's not doing that. He's just probably multi-tabling or having a cup of tea. Y&D with the decision. He's got just under 10 big blinds. And does decide to fold. So we'll be pleased when he watches this back, because if we play results, he dodged a bullet. Vlad, not so concerned. He wants to wield that big chip stack and start knocking some people out, looks like. King 6 suited is an underdog against Ace Jack offsuit. By that much. But Wizard of Oz is the all-in player, and a 6 on the flop could do for him. 8 of spades means that Vlad has the spades covered. Wizard of Oz drawing thin and gets unlucky. So we're going to lose Kevin Thurman, the Team PokerStars Online Pro. Great run through the Sunday Million for him. Won't be too long before his next big final table. He does it pretty regularly. But this one ends in 7th. The Canadian picks up $27,588. Now, I can tell you that these 6 players would do a deal. There would be a 6-way chop at this point. The money jumps get big, or start to get big around about now. And when you've paid $215 for a tournament, suddenly making $20,000 decisions, not what everyone wants to do for fun. So the players make a deal. I'll confirm the amounts of the deal as they leave us. Meanwhile, there's a blind battle going on between the 2 biggest stacks. Vlad versus JJ Thomas. And this is a fantastic spot for JJ Thomas now. Both of them flop top pair. Vlad will make the small lead out bet, and JJ will call. Ten of spades means that Queen 7 is still in front. Vlad will check. Doesn't, I guess, want this pot to get super big. And Jack of Diamonds doesn't actually change anything. JJ Thomas's 7 will still play here. and you'd expect him to try and get some value with Vlad checking twice. Very tiny bet. Not quite sure if that's just what he thinks he can get paid because Vlad doesn't have anything, or whether he's trying to induce some kind of bluff. But that is all he gets paid. He does win the pot, and he does close the gap. So those two perhaps playing a little bit conservatively as the two chip leaders. Didn't see the need to play a big pot. But maybe JJ left a little bit of value on the table there. JJ limping in hand 49 with the pocket tens. You don't see a lot of limping in anymore. Whatever happened to limping in? It's basically rubbish, that's what happened to it. So we'll see if JJ Thomas can make something of it here. But he gets shoved on. And maybe that was his plan. Limp in, get a short stack to shove with worse. Certainly a different way to play it. I don't know if he's rejoicing in the brilliance of his plan right here, but there goes the money. Well, he's slightly unlucky to be in a flip here, JJ, because plenty of hands YND could have shoved with that wasn't the case. But we are going to be off to the races. JJ Thomas has the edge with the pair of tens. YND is the all-in player. And is now in trouble. Just a king or a queen on the river to save YND. And the ace confirms JJ Thomas's win. He actually takes the chip lead. First new chip leader we've had. YND will hit the rail and take $80,500 and change for 6th place. Amazing result after that deal. Really, really good cash for him. We'll move on. Hand 53. Still playing 250, 500,000. Four better hasn't been able to get anything going. We saw him win one pot, but now is the short stack. He's not the situation he wants to be in, having 6 big blinds and trying to decide whether to shove Jack 6 or not. Got to have some sympathy for him, I think, but does have the comfort that they've done the deal and he'll be taking home a lot of cash. Galaxy 7 shoves from the small blind, and Vlad will call from the big blind with King Jack. Seems like pretty regulation stuff, but it's really important to Galaxy 7. He's got to win this one, and he may not be doing it. Vlad with the Jack on the flop vaults to the lead. Now Vlad doesn't want to hit a king, would make Galaxy 7 Broadway, but the 7 is a safe card, and Vlad doesn't like being out of the lead for too long. Quickly takes it back up to 28.5 million. Galaxy 7 hits the rail, and we lose our 2 Taiwanese players back to back. Galaxy 7 with $95,600 out of the deal. Good stuff. Four-handed. And King Loon will set 4 better all in here. Interesting one. If he thinks 4 better will fold a lot, then obviously he can do that with any 2 cards. But 4 better's stack was pretty short there. As it happens, it's all rendered a little bit less interesting by the fact that 4 better has a hand that's a monster. He's always going to call. Comedy flop. King Loon flops the straight draw. 4 better trying to hang on here with the ace king, and he's not going to do it. 9 makes King Loon a pair. 4 better needs the ace or the king, and they don't arrive. And a little bit unlucky there for the British player, but he does leave us, and we're 3-handed in the million.
We are anticipation. Committed. Anonymous. Focused. Holding it in. We are poker.
Welcome back. As promised, the online poker show free roll password. This kicks off on the 9th of August at 3:35 Eastern Time. The password is Splash. Splash. Remember that movie with Daryl Hannah? It was awful. Vladaboo with 28.5 million leads the way. JJ Thomas has just under 23 million. And King Loon is your short stack, but competitive. The blinds are big, and this is still anyone's Sunday million title. Bulgaria versus Hong Kong versus Denmark. Significant Far Eastern presence at our final table. And I need to tell you that Vladimir 6i did amazing things tonight. He actually finished third in the Sunday warm-up on the same night that he's made the final three in the Sunday million. Pretty incredible stuff. Do some maths on how tricky that is to do. 2 huge fields, and he has waded through them like they're nothing. He's also looked like the likeliest winner of the million tonight. He has been chip leader for most of the final table, but a lot could change here. 250, 500,000 are still the blinds, and we've actually got a little bit of poker going on. Short stacks are knocked out, and we'll play some cards. JJ Thomas with the adventurous call, but he does have position, which is a good thing in Texas Hold'em. Dol Brunson told me that. Vlad will continuation bet here, and JJ Thomas has a plan. This is a bit premeditated, and if Vlad stops to think here, it doesn't make a huge amount of sense. JJ Thomas says, yeah, good thinking by Vladaboo. He's all over this. JJ Thomas is asking Vlad to believe that he smooth called with a hand that he can now raise with on that flop. And there aren't too many of those. Nice play from Vladaboo. Good try from JJ Thomas, but he got a little bit out-thought there. So the Bulgarian has taken control of this final table. King Loon will shove, and he gets called by Vladimir with the ace-9. So King Loon's in trouble here. Unlucky to run into an exactly dominating hand, but that's the way out of it. Oh, it's a neat trick if you can pull it off. Flops 2 pair, vaults the lead. Vladimir will, well, if he's not unhappy with that one, he's probably not human. 300 in the million, a chance to go heads up with all the chips, and he gets out flop like that. Pretty cruel stuff, but it makes for a more fun poker tournament because the 3 players are now pretty even stacked. And the short stack is a little bit over 30 big blinds, so it could be some interesting hands. So Vladaboo is going to raise from the small blind here. Now JJ Thomas called him with 8-3. He's now going to raise him with King Queen. So he's mixing him up. Question is, what does Vlad think of that? Well, he thinks he's got the best hand, and he's prepared to back it for all of the money. JJ Thomas feels compelled to call, and he's in trouble here. Vlad has the best hand, has the most chips, still ahead after the flop. JJ Thomas finds a card again. Vlad now has the flush draw. Can he redraw on him? He can. Oh, the drama. Vladaboo with the 37.5 million chip pot eliminates JJ Thomas. Didn't look like that was going to happen after the turn, but Vlad had the best hand at the beginning, and JJ Thomas from Denmark, great run through the tournament, leaves us with a 6-figure score, 113,000 and change, and we're heads up for the million title. This has looked like Vlad's tournament for pretty, well, most of this final table, but he still has to finish the job, and we've seen this go wrong many, many times. King Loon certainly won't just give it to him. There's a little bit of room for manoeuvre, as you can see here, with this lead-out bluff. We've already seen Vlad pick off some weakness, and this is interesting. He's going to flat call here, see what happens on the turn. Let's have a gut shot and a couple of overcards. Now, if you gave King Loon 100 big blinds, he'd absolutely fire this turn again. I wonder if the fact that he's short stack will stop him. No, it doesn't. And he does get rid of Vlad, so you've got to love that from King Loon. Short stacked, possibly the biggest heads-up match of his life, and he's still prepared to pull the trigger. It's nice stuff from him. Still has quite a big chip gap to close, though. 2-1 deficit. And Not sure that calling with that hand, our position is going to erase the deficit, but we'll see. Vladimir with a very fortuitous flop. See what I did there? Yeah. Genius. Trip fours for Vladimir. And his challenge is going to be, how does he get paid? King Loon doesn't have nothing. He's got 2 overcards. He's got a gut shot. He's also unlikely to believe that Vlad has flopped anything here. I mean, why would he? On a 4-4-3 flop. Vladimir has bet, which is good, and he does get raised. Gets exactly what he wants. It's a lovely position to be in. The big chip lead, a monster flop, just trying to get paid here. He'll flat call and hope that King Loon has enough rope to hang himself. 5 on the turn. Improves King Loon's hand, and this is bad news. He's decided to check. Not impossible. He could have got the money in right there, but doesn't look like it's going to happen. Maybe King Loon, worried by the call of the check raise on the flop, thinks that Vlad is either floating or, could have a big hand. 30 million in the middle. King Loon with just less than the pot size bet left. That 10 of clubs does make the flush that was there on the flop. I think that'll change too much how these guys play. Well, King Loon makes a big bet here. Interesting bet, because I'm not sure if this gets paid by many worse hands. I'm not quite sure if he's betting or he wants to get called. He is going to get called and saves himself just under 3 million chips, I guess, in a weird way. Vlad always had the monster hand. Might kick himself for leaving King Loon with that tiny stack. Just under 60 million in chips. You don't see that too often, but that's the situation at the end of an extraordinary night of poker by Vladimir 6i. Third in the Sunday warm-up, going for the win in the Sunday million. He's going to get it if this ace holds up. King Loon desperate for some help. Doesn't look like he's going to receive any. Vladimir 6i has this locked up. This doesn't happen too often. 2 major scores on a Super Sunday for the Bulgarian player. He wins the Sunday million. He also wins the most money, $153,358, heading his way together with third for the Sunday warm-up. What a night of poker for him. Extraordinary stuff. Played really well as well. Well-deserved victory. King Loon from Hong Kong is second with $77,000, and JJ Thomas from Denmark rounds off your podium. $113,000 for him. A fantastic Sunday million. Another one coming your way very soon. From everyone here at PokerStars.tv, I'm Nick Wealthall. Take big care.